everyone! In today's video I'm just going to be going through my 2019 A-Level Psychology predictions, and this is for the forensics section of paper 3. So again, as I've said within all of my other videos, please do make sure you still revise absolutely everything because anything could come up. What were the questions within the 2018 paper? There was a small answer question on Eysenk's theory, there was a question on the atavistic form, and then the 16-mark question was on ways of dealing with offending behaviour. And within this, you could have spoken about custodial sentencing, behaviour modification, anger management, and restorative justice. So what kind of things do I think could come up in the 2019 paper? First, you have the psychodynamic explanations of offending behaviour. This is split into two elements. First of all, you have the idea of the inadequate superego, which was argued by Blackburn. Blackburn went on and proposed three types of inadequate superego: the weak superego, the deviant superego, and the overharsh superego, all of which lead to criminal behaviour due to lack of control of the id. You also have the maternal deprivation theory, which we have also seen before within the attachment unit. Bowlby suggests that if a child is unable to form an attachment within the critical period, they will experience damaging consequences later in life. An example of this is affectionless psychopathy. Bowlby then went on to support his claims using the 44 Thieves study, which is exactly the same as what we saw within the attachment unit. Next, we have bottom-up profiling. This contrasts with top-down profiling in that the profile is driven by data, as opposed to fixed typologies. Bottom-up profiling has two elements. The first is investigative psychology. This is the idea that statistical procedures can be used to establish patterns of behaviour that are likely to occur. Within investigative psychology, you also have the idea of interpersonal coherence, which suggests that the way an offender appears to have behaved at a crime scene is likely to reflect how they behave in day-to-day life. This area also takes into account the significance of time and place and forensic awareness. Within bottom-up profiling, you also have the idea of geographical profiling. This is used to make inferences regarding the base of an offender, which is known as crime mapping. Within this, you also have Cantor's circle theory, which suggests that an offender may be a marauder or a commuter. As I've said within my other paper 3 videos, I do think that there's a good chance there could be a comparison question somewhere, as there are many places they could put one in. If it were to be in the forensics section, I think it could possibly be asking you to compare bottom-up and top-down profiling. And as long as you know your AO3 points and the difference between these two, you should be fine with that. Next, we have defining and measuring crime. Within this, you have problems in defining crime, which includes cultural and historical issues. You also have the ways of measuring crime, which is split into three elements. You have official statistics, victim surveys, and offender surveys. It is important that you know the difference between the three, as well as having a general idea as to how these are carried out. You also need to know the AO3 points that go alongside these. You also have the genetic and neural explanations of offending behaviour. Within this, the genetic explanations look at twin studies, and what this reveals to us about the likelihood of genes playing a factor within offending behaviour. There are also adoption studies, such as that by Crow, who looked at children with a biological parent who held a criminal record, but had been adopted by non-criminal parents. Here, there was also a fairly large-scale study by someone who I cannot pronounce the name of, who revealed a series of genes that may be linked with offending behaviour. There is also a section looking at the Diathesis-Stress model, which we have seen before, and the same principle applies. The neural explanation instead looks at the differences in brain structure between criminal and non-criminal populations. It has been found that there are differences in the prefrontal cortex and in mirror neurons. So finally, I've just gotten here about the differential association theory, which just kind of looks at how criminal behaviour is learnt through associations and interactions with other people. Within this, you've got the idea of crime as a learned behaviour, you've got the idea of pro-criminal attitudes, and then finally about the learning of criminal acts. As I said earlier on within the video, I do think there's a chance we could see a comparison question somewhere within paper 3. I said before that it could be between the bottom-up and top-down approaches, but just be mindful that you could even be asked to compare the different biological explanations for offending behaviour, or the psychological explanations for offending behaviour. With all of that being said, I just want to say a huge good luck to all of you. Again, please do make sure you do revise everything. There is a lot of content within forensics which does make it quite hard, but you're very near the end now, so just have one final push, revise everything, and you'll be absolutely fine. Good luck everyone.